Welcome back to Color Class. I'm Sarah.
I'm Lucinda.
And today we are going to be busting 5 myths about color analysis.
Yay!
That is harder to say than you would think, but hopefully we don't jumble that up because we're going to say busting myths a lot today. And I've already messed it up.
Maybe there's a different way to say it.
All right, so our first myth that we are busting. Only people with blue or green eyes can be bright or clear seasonal characteristics, dominant characteristics.
Right.
Is that any truth?
Well, many people say, and let's put a little proviso on that and say that when we talk about bright or clear seasons, we are really talking about 6 dominant characteristics or the 12 season palettes. And in the 12 season palettes, the 2 seasons that tend to be bright or clear are spring and winter. Mm-hmm. Now, we've always heard that the clear winter is somebody who has bright blue eyes, the Courtney Cox model, the Megan Fox kind of look, bright blue eyes and black hair. Because when you're talking about clarity or brightness, you're talking about
very high contrast.
Yes. So your lightest point is as close to white as possible, and your deepest point is as close as black to possible. And in between, in your personal color landscape, you have all the different variations of tone. Now, I'm the opposite of that. Sarah is somewhat the opposite. She's a little brighter than me, but somewhat the opposite of that. For me, I have this shade of gray and I have this shade of gray. And it's a light gray to a deeper gray. And so my tonal contrast isn't really that pronounced. There are not a lot of shades of gray with me.
Right.
You know, it's kind of gray and gray. Now, with somebody who's bright or clear, normally they would say, well, you know, you've got these bright blue eyes and this black hair, and that makes them clear. But, Sarah, what's the other way you can be clear without having bright blue eyes or green eyes?
The whites of your eyes can be very bright. So even if you have dark brown eyes and you have a very bright white around the eye, that still gives you clarity. So that's
range.
Right. It still gives you a high white point and a low dark point. So you still have that whole range.
Absolutely. And people have said to me, well, you know, your eyes, the whites of your eyes, they're white, you know, and if I've got dark brown eyes, does that always mean I'm a clear? No, it does not. And here's the reason that you might mean you're clear or you might not, is how much of the white actually shows. So we all have different eye shapes, and we might have hooded eyes, we might have narrow eyes, but if a lot of the white of your eye shows and you have that deep brown showing, there was an actress on a show that I watched recently called The Resident. It's on Netflix, and she plays a surgeon, and I can't remember her name, but she's a great example. If you ever have a chance, take a look at the show and take a look at. She's Dr. Okafor, and if you look at her, it's a perfect example because there's her eye shape shows so much of the white of the eye, and then you've got that deep brown, and of course her skin is deep brown, and many people might try to make her deep, but she's not. She's a clear.
Because she has enough whites in the eyes, creating the contrast to wear brighter colors.
Exactly right.
So, another myth busted. You do not just have a blue or green eyes to be bright. You can have brown eyes and just have very high contrast within your eye color. So, myth 2. Does deeper skin tone mean that you are always going to be placed in the deep category?
No. But that's not true. And in fact, we busted that myth in the last myth because we explained how somebody could be clear and still have a deep skin tone. So really, it's important to go through the 6 dominant characteristic process. And what is that process, Sarah?
So I'm going to show it on the screen, but we have 3 different spectrums that we looked at. We have light to deep, warm to cool, and we have soft to clear. And what we do is we evaluate for the most dominant characteristic of those 6. So if you immediately look at somebody and you say, wow, they are so clear, then that is their dominant characteristic. But you can have more than one of these options. So, for example, for me, I'm very soft, but I'm also warm because of how much my hair takes up space around me. So there can be multiples. You can have all 3. You can have 2. You can be in one very dominant characteristic. So there's a lot of different options when it comes to the 6.
And the way we train here at Color Class is everything branches off of the 6 dominant characteristics. Rather than thinking, that you're locked into the 4 seasons, which many people tell us just doesn't work for them. The majority of people tell us it just doesn't work for them. And if you have a deep, rich skin tone, it probably doesn't work for you either. So what we've done is move to teach the 6 dominant characteristics, and branching off of the 6 dominant characteristics, there's a 12 palette seasonal system that you can use. You can use a group of the dominant characteristics to get yourself into one of the 12 seasonal palettes. And that is going to be a more precise way to discover what your colors are. I mean, let's face it. At the end of the game, at the end of all your training, at the end of your analysis, at the end of everything you've done, why did you do it? You didn't do it so that you'd have a label stuck on you that says, I'm a spring or I'm a winter. What does that mean even? Mm-hmm. You do it because you want to attain knowledge about what colors are going to flatter you and what colors are going to be great for your makeup. Myth number 3, blondes can't be winters.
Well, we know that's not the case because we have talked about what happens if somebody has white hair. What happens if somebody has silver hair? Yes. Hair. Yes. Or silver hair. Anything that Platinum. Is cool and light. But what does that do? What is that giving to a person? It's giving high contrast. It's giving more contrast.
And here's a good rule of thumb to determine whether, if let's say that you have white hair and you're a little bit more mature girly whose hair has gone almost completely white. Mm-hmm. Now, if your eyebrows are completely white, you may want to reevaluate your winter status. You may want to just take a look and see if you have, over the course of your eyebrows lightening up, that you may have become a summer. Because what has happened, if your eyebrows are like a light white and your hair is a light white, then suddenly you don't have a lot of contrast going on there.
You're getting soft.
So you're getting softer. You're more muted. So you may want to take a look at that. However, there are blondes who are absolutely winters. Lady Gaga, for example. Now, what's distinctive about Lady Gaga? Always
platinum blonde hair with the brows, the dark
black brows. So she's got that long kind of area of tonality from very white to very deep.
If we took a black and white photo of her brows would be very dark, but her hair would be very white. So that's kind of where our scale comes in when we talk soft to clear. She's on that clear scale because she hits the very lightest point and the very darkest point.
Right. And so that makes her a winter. Now, just let's back it up a minute for anybody who hasn't been with us the whole time and I'm going to give you a quick seasonal review, just quick. Spring is warm and light. Autumn is warm and deep. Summer is cool and light. And winter is cool and deep. So let's say that you've got this light white hair going on, and it's not really golden. There's no red or gold highlights, but you do have the light hair. So you, as the color analyst, have a decision to make. Is this person a summer or is this person a winter? Now, I would say, and I'm just pulling this out of thin air, 80% of the time, really light hair, really cool light hair, they're probably a summer. But here's what do you think, Sarah? Is that not?
I don't know. There's a lot of representation for platinum blondes and things like that. So it's That's kind of tough.
Yeah, I rely on Sarah to keep me in the right here
Right in
in
check.
2024 because I'm 68 years old and I'm not like totally hip to all the trends. And so she's right. There are a lot of people who are going with the really white hair, but you'll never see that. Well, I'm saying
No
something.
absolutes.
Yeah, there are no absolutes in our world of color. I was going to say you won't see them dyeing their eyebrows white.
Not true at all.
I know it's not true. And I know it was a trend. Back to the topic. I always go off topic. Bottom line, blondes can be winters. And the clue to look for is the brow. If the brow is black or dark brown.
All right. Myth number 4 that needs to be busted. Freckles. Do freckles always mean that you're warm?
You know, I've read that. I've read it. And
Yeah.
I've heard people who say that, but it's not true. I, in my research, have found people with very cool skin who have freckles and they're not warm.
I would
They're
say
cool.
it's less common, but it can happen. So nothing's ever absolute. No one is exactly the same at the end of the day.
That's exactly true.
And then lastly, number 5. Autumns must have brown or red hair. Is that true?
No. And again, this goes in with the, there are no absolutes. All of these rules that you read must be this, and you can't do this. And everybody is different. And what you have to do is look at that magnificent masterpiece that is this face that either you have or that you're doing color analysis on. And that face will tell you, will give you all the clues you need to get somebody in the right season. Sarah, for example, her hair is red. Now, some people could say, well, her hair isn't really that dark. So why is she in autumn? Look at her brows. Her brows are dark. So her brows have taken her kind of into a deeper, they've taken her out of the spring palette and pushed her into the autumn palette. And the same is true about some blondes or some redheads, because if you've got a blonde has dark eyebrows and she's really golden, and I bet you can give me an example of somebody who
I automatically think Beyonce when she has her like blonder streaks in her hair, because Beyonce is so soft. Remember, she usually has like a medium brown hair color. She has her warm skin tone, warm brown eyes. Are they hazel? Are they brown? Hazel?
I don't know.
Something around there.
I'll
what else?
look the next time we're together.
Yeah, next time we see her. Her eyebrows, everything. Remember, she doesn't have a ton of contrast because everything is very similar. If you took a photo of her and made it black and white, what would you get? Everything would be kind of similar. It'd be all the same shade of gray, just like us. So it makes her softer, even though she might have a few blonde streaks here and there. So I hope you enjoyed having these 5 myths busted. I had to take that a little slow so I didn't mess it up.
Good job.
Thank you for joining us today. Lastly, you can find us over on Patreon. We would love to have you join our color analysis community. We are having so much fun color analyzing, looking at celebrities. We do digital downloads. You get content. You get so much good content to have that you can take along with you, use how you would like. You can find us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and here on YouTube. And if you would like to help us out on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, share. Any of those things really helps us out
Keeps
with
the
our
lights
videos.
on.
Yes, exactly. So does Patreon too. So we would love to have you over there chatting with us, having a great time, talking about color analysis. Thank you again for all your love and support. I'm Sarah.
I'm Lucinda.
This has been another color class, and we'll see you in our next video.